Extra, the games will be dropping on January the 17th. Unfortunately, one of the games that was all over the promotional material in Sayonara Wild Hearts will in fact not be a part of the Plus Extra lineup. The PlayStation blog has been updated. Update: Sayonara Wild Hearts was incorrectly announced as part of January's game catalog lineup for PlayStation Plus. Now, this is very strange to me because it just has to seem like this is a case where they're working on a deal for this game. This is what I would assume, because how do you pick out a random niche game like Sayonara Wild Hearts, put it on the promotional material, and put it on the PlayStation blog, have an excerpt written and everything like that, only for the game to be pulled anyway? It could be a case where maybe it'll be exclusive to a specific region, but I would think more likely that they are working on a deal for this game, maybe as a Plus Essential title in February, maybe as a Plus Extra title in February, because you'd have to imagine that these deals are worked out well in advance of them actually going live. So that's what I feel happened. Maybe somebody just jumped the gun on this one. Like, I can't imagine any other reason for something like this to happen, just because, again, you have to put the game in the promotional material, you have to write the excerpt, you have to get the game verified that it's coming. Maybe it's just the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing. You got a big company, organization, whatever, working on these kinds of things, and maybe they, again, just jumped the gun on this. I did see in the comment section that a lot of people were like, hey, check out Sayonara Wild Hearts. This is going to be one of those games that is going to surprise a lot of people. So a little bit of a bummer that the game has ultimately been pulled from the service as far as the January update goes. The highlights of January, again, are Back 4 Blood, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, DB Fighters. I saw some people excited for Life is Strange as well. Unfortunately, no Life is Strange True Colors, so that's a little bit of a bummer. You do have Jet the Far Shore. It seems like as far as the extra lineup goes, this is the least well-received lineup. It's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. Like, you got Back 4 Blood, DB Fighters, Devil May Cry, Life is Strange, Before the Storm, and the base game, Jet the Far Shore, Just Cause 4 Reloaded, Omno, and Erica. A lot of lower key games, but Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, like, if you didn't play DMC5 or you want to check it out again in the form of the Special Edition, maybe you played it on PS4, that for a lot of people is well worth the price of admission. DB Fighters has a lot of DLC, as does Back 4 Blood, so that does lessen the value, and DB Fighters is a game that goes on sale for sub $10. Back 4 Blood is a game that's readily available pretty cheap. It is nice that with PlayStation Plus Premium, hey, at least we got 3 games with Siphon Filter, 3 Star Wars Demolition, and Hot Shots Golf 2. I think that's the most notable thing out of the Plus lineup this month. But given that, you know, the Plus Extra updates have been rather good. You know, months with the entire Kingdom Hearts catalog, months with Judgment and the Yakuza games, Middle Earth, etc., etc. There's a lot of competition for a high bar to be met with Plus Extra, so this is definitely a bit of a drop-off, but it's month 1 of 12 months. If you're signing up with the deal that we mentioned in an earlier video, you know, $60 for the year, you're still gonna get value out of it. I think for the entirety of the year, jump on that deal still. I think it's very much worth it. Even when you look at, if you get a month like this every month for 12 months, I still think that $60 is gonna be probably worth it, because, you know, you play a DMC5, that's a game that still goes for $20. You play a Back 4 Blood, that's a game that, hey, goes for $10 or so. Just Cause 4 Reloaded, etc., etc., and you'll find quite a few of those throughout the year. But hopefully, again, they do get better and better throughout the year. And by the way, of course, if you sign up for $60 for the year, you get the Plus Essential games as well, so that's going to be quite nice. Like, you'll get Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and all that good stuff. So that is something to consider when signing up for Plus Extra right now. Alright, moving on from that, Wanted Dead has gotten a Combat Explained trailer, and this is a game that is going to be going really under the radar. It's coming from 110 Industries and developer Soleil. Now, Soleil actually did Valkyrie Elysium. They worked on that game. They did Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker, which Shinobi Striker kind of got memed on, but from what I've heard, the game has gotten considerably better, and it's like still getting updates and new content rollouts, so take that for what you will. The game notes: Wanted Dead is no ordinary third-person action game. The core gameplay comes from the creators of Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive, some of the most challenging and rewarding games ever made. Dead or Alive made me, as far as fighting games go, Dead or Alive was one that you had so little room for error, and honestly, I got like so annoyed by that. Ninja Gaiden, obviously, something that I really enjoyed. Wanted Dead boasts true hardcore challenges and hands over a set of tools to overcome even the toughest of enemies. Wanted Dead is a unique brawler that combines close encounters with shooting and demands the player to juggle between the two, constantly throwing different types of enemies their way. The player is equipped with a powerful ranged weapon right from the start, but solely relying on Hannah's rifle won't get you too far. The enemies drop ammunition and secondary weapons that can be equipped by the player. Picking the right secondary weapon for an encounter can be the difference between life and death. One of the keys to success is staying on the move, combining run and gun mechanics with sword combat, slide and charge attacks, occasional grenade tossing, and takedowns. The player should not expect to sit this one out and cover. The enemies will overrun Hannah in mere seconds. Wanted Dead is a hard game in the tradition of the Japanese classics that inspired it. This means it requires mastery, blocking, and countering enemy attacks with the fundamental skills required to progress. Hannah's pistol is no ordinary sidearm given to the player in case the main and the secondary weapons run out of ammo. Hannah's pistol is an essential ingredient to be used in combos and your primary weapon to stun enemies mid-attack animation, opening them up to deadly and stylish finishing executions. You've also got a skill tree in the game. The starter pack of combos will take the player through the first 20 minutes of the game, but that won't be enough. That's where the skill tree comes into play. Unlockable skills are divided into 3 categories: offense, defense, and support. There's no right order to spend these experience points on new skills, since each player can tailor the experience to their own liking. Some players rely on their teammates' support, other players' defensive strategies when in combat, and some want to rush into the action like a one-man army. We managed to serve them all. Wanted Dead is coming to every platform: PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. I guess not Nintendo Switch, but nonetheless, that's to be expected. And it'll be on Steam on February 14th. So again, that's right after Hogwarts Legacy. That's right before Wild Hearts and Atomic Heart. So, man, February is just stacked with a lot of games. So, I don't know if a game like this is going to get a lot of buzz. But if it drops and it ends up being like a really solid, action game, I think people will ultimately end up checking it out. It's just I haven't seen this one been getting a ton of buzz, so hopefully this will, ramp up in excitement a little bit as we get closer to the release. Lastly, a game that is ramping up in excitement right now, the Dead Space remake. The launch trailer has officially dropped for that, and people are getting incredibly excited over that game. Publisher Electronic Arts and developer Motive have released the new launch trailer for Dead Space Remake. And on top of that, an Inside Dead Space blog was published on the official website as well that explains the importance of a great story and some of the other information regarding about the game. And the blog specifically, they talked about how important atmosphere and tension are in making a great horror game. That's something I've talked about when talking about horror games and really just immersive games in general. Like a Metro, I feel, does a really good job in creating atmosphere. Tension is something that you absolutely need in a horror game, and how you build and cool off of tension, it's like a balancing act that a lot of horror games kind of fumble on. I feel like my recollection of the original Dead Space, which I played it probably like a couple of years ago, and by the way, it still holds up really well, but still, nonetheless, I'm excited for this remake. It did a really good job of balancing the tension and keeping you very immersed into the game. And of course, sound design in the game is tremendous as well. The game I'm incredibly excited for. The description is officially nuts. When Isaac Clarke and the USG Kellyan were dispatched to repair the USG Ishimura mining vessel, they had no idea how quickly a routine mission could turn into a complete nightmare. When did the Ishimura crew disappear in the darkness? What happened to them, and what does this mean for the future of mankind? Of course, the game is dropping on January the 27th. Will be a full $70, which that is the biggest part of the pushback that I am noticing. Like $70, no matter how you slice it, for a game that you're probably going to play once. It's probably going to be like a 10 to 12 hour game. And hey, some of you guys might play it multiple times. I probably will jump back into this game at some point after completing it initially, but yeah, it's a hefty price to pay. Like, that's gonna be something that people are gonna wrestle with for probably the entirety of the generation. I know some of you guys have disposable income and you're buying everything left and right, but for a lot of people, $70 is a steep price to pay, especially just comparatively speaking. If you have like a hefty backlog and you see these deals that are available readily, and you see a game like Need for Speed Unbound a week after release being $40, it's hard to justify for a lot of people spending $70 on a game that you're probably going to play for 10 to 12 hours, and I can totally understand that, but still, I'm super excited for it, and hopefully the game does commercially well enough that, Dead Space is going to be an IP that's going to be here to stick around for the long term. But nonetheless, launch trailer looks great, game looks great, and it's probably going to be exactly what we expect. A full-on remake of the original Dead Space, a beloved survival horror game. Excited to see how that one turns out. But that is going to do it for me. Again, Sayonara Wild Hearts, unfortunately, will not be a part of the Plus Extra lineup this month. Hopefully that was a fumble in the sense that they just jumped the gun on it and it'll be a plus title as an essential game in February, or it'll be an extra title in February. Something to that effect. I could easily see that happening. Wanted Dead Combat Explained trailer has dropped, a game that really is going to get lost in the shuffle, I feel, with all the other major releases coming out, but keep that on your radar if you're into over the